Digimon players, welcome back to another deck profile video. Today's video is going to be in some ways similar to my Agumon deck. This list has not been tested but does look at some wild interactions that you can now play with not just AncientGarurumon, but also Gabumon Bond of Friendship as well. But ultimately only you as a player can decide what works for you. And while there are some neat interactions with the Gabumon base, you may find yourself just drawn to the red base AncientGarurumon instead. Per the usual, let's look over some new cards and common cards along with some combos before tying the deck all together in one neat little package. With the special limited set, the first card is going to be Gabumon Bond of Friendship ACE. Like Agumon Bond of Bravery ACE, this 8-cost card has a Digivolution cost of 3 from any blue level 6 Digimon, or even Gabumon if you have 2 or fewer security cards. On play, and when Digivolving, return 2 of your opponent's Digimon with equal or fewer Digivolution cards than this Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Does not matter level, as long as they have equal or less sources. So even with a single Digivolution source of Gabumon, you would return even powerful cards like Demon Lords, or even Ogurumon himself. I'm not writing this episode and recording it immediately after the Carta Magica stream. No. Which, by the way, if you haven't checked it out, the link for the entire stream is in the description below. This Digimon also has a when attacking once per turn effect, where if you have a Tamer, unsuspend this Digimon. One major pro about this Digimon is its lower threshold Digivolution cost, especially when you compare it to Imperial Dramon Paladin Mode Ace. The only downside that I can see so far is that you have to utilize other methods of source stripping Digivolution sources, and of course the lower DP body. But the addition of this is that it can supplement your BT15 Metal Garurumon in so many ways. Considering Gabumon can warp Digivolve into Metal Garurumon, stun the board partially, and if your opponent attacks, you can go into this Digimon to bounce back some other Digimon. And if the Gabumon was BT15, you may have gifted blocker as well. One quick little combo here is that promoting up this Gabumon means with or without mat, your Digimon has blocker. And then by warping into a Metal Garurumon, assuming your opponent has a Digimon with 10,000 DP or more on the board, you can stun 3 targets, have double block or a single block with evade. And once you've used up your block, or you've had to evade, you can still go into Gabumon Bond of Friendship ACE to send back 2 more targets that have 3 or less Digivolution sources. Considering this could also potentially deal with Magnamon X, also majorly worth it. The only other card that makes a wave in the up-and-coming set of course is going to be Blue Scramble. This option card, like Red Scramble, has a main effect that one of your blue Digimon may Digivolve into a blue Digimon card in the hand, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 3. Then this card is placed in the battle area. Additionally, start of your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon, delay. Return 1 blue Digimon card from your trash to the top of the deck. Then if you don't have a Digimon, you may play 1 blue Digimon card with 2000 DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. Considering again you can use this card to play back out Gabumons, you can also utilize this effect to return the Gabumon Bond of Friendship ACE from the trash to the top of the deck. But the best part of this is about what specific engine I've utilized with this particular build. Because while I've mentioned BT15 Gabumon, Metal Garurumon, Gabumon Bond of Friendship ACE, and Blue Scramble, the true success of this deck is going to rely on one particular engine, being the AncientGarurumon package. With the number of Tamers in this deck, you're going to be running 4 Wanyamons and 1 Bukamon egg for the entire package. On one hand, Bukamon adds for the necessity of jamming, while your Wanyamon eggs can be more useful when you have a blue Tamer in play. Because card draw is necessary, this is just one avenue on how you can draw cards. Though arguably the intention of using a 5th egg is typically reserved for decks that go through them quickly, and this is where you could potentially still utilize Ukomons for that, since they provide the extra raise. However, for this particular variant of the build, Gabumon plays a crucial role in the level 3s, because with Blue Scramble, you can play them back for additional control elements. BT15 Gabumon as mentioned can gift a Digimon on the board blocker, even itself. But if you happen to have Mat Ishida in play, this Digimon can also draw you a card. Its inheritable also has a when attacking effect that draws you a card. Interestingly, I opted to only use 2 EX1 Gabumons, mainly because these are another when attacking trigger that I can find Digimon with Gabumon or a Tamer to the hand. But with the promo version, this is what allows you to glean a large number of cards to add Tamers, and this effect is simply on play. Though it does not have an inheritable, finding your Tamers is fairly crucial, although you may also draw them as well. Considering this can find your Tamers, then you can start your chain, it would be the more passive approach to checking security. Promo Lobomon is the start of this particular combo. Because when digivolving, this Digimon can digivolve into Ancient Garurumon in your hand for a memory cost of 1, ignoring the Digivolution requirements. And considering you can digivolve on top of Gabumon, then straight into Ancient Garurumon, this is just one avenue to start chipping away at security. Since, Ancient Garurumon will return one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level to the hand, and then since an effect added a card to yours or your opponent's hand, your opponent adds the top card of their security stack to their hand. At which after all that resolves, Ancient Garurumon is deleted, and then you can add one Tamer card and one Hybrid Trait Digimon from trash to hand, including that Promo Lobo that you just digivolved into. Likewise, you can play a Tamer from your hand now without paying the cost. The rest of the level 4 lineup is looking at the BT17 Lobomon and Kendo Garurumon play, which does the same thing and can provide you the Digi-Cross elements needed for Ancient Garurumon. Interestingly, you have some slight flexibility of memory by having the Promo Lobomon in the back, because you can then go into Kendo Garurumon for 1, when attacking go into BT17 Lobo for 0, then Ancient Garurumon off the Inheritable for 1 memory. In some ways, you still have some flexible memory efficiency here, particularly with the blue Scramble if going off of Gabumon. Though at this point, you can simply readjust your ratios as you see fit if you're liking the feel of the promo. I prioritize the others because they can all digivolve off Koji for a cost of 2, and the additional inheritables of drawing cards if you have 7 or fewer cards in hand. Although you wouldn't normally expect it, I went with 3 level 5s in this build. One Beowulfmon from BT7, which can climb the chain with a Tamer and the Digivolution sources for 1 before going into a level 6. It can really cheese your opponent, but in a situation where you have a memory fixer and no level 3s, you can stack Lobomon and Kendo Garurumon under Koji in order to evo into Beowulfmon as if Koji was a level 4. The Inheritable could also return a level 4 or lower Digimon to the hand when you attack with the Digimon if it has Hybrid or 10 Warriors in its traits. Finally, to your top ends, you've got the BT15 Metal Garurumon, which can evade and stun 3 of your opponent's Digimon and Tamers from suspending. Additionally, all turns once per turn when this Digimon becomes suspended, you may unsuspend. Suspend for block, you may unsuspend. Suspend for evade, you may unsuspend. And of course, to finish up the line, I look at 4 copies of Ancient Garurumon. Super top end wise, you've got the Gabumon Bond of Bravery ACE, though again, if you're wanting to, you could tech 1 copy of Blitz Omnimon if you really wanted to. Option card wise, 1 Ice Wall is a defensive measure and can also be a saving grace to flip the turn if your opponent's at 0 memory. Likewise, Hammer Spark functionally does the same thing in security, but that extra memory can also make or break between a hybrid for a game. The blue Scrambles of course for the combos mentioned earlier, and lastly the Ancient Guardian Deity, which can be played as long as you have a Tamer or Hybrid in play to ignore that red color requirement. This 2-cost option has a main effect which can return 1 Digimon with a Hybrid or 10 Warriors trait from trash to hand. Then you may play 1 Digimon card with the 10 Warriors trait or Tamer card with an inherited effect from your hand with the play cost reduced by 4. These can pull back your Ancient Garurumons or any other missing combo pieces you may be needing. And because Ancient Garurumon can be played for a cost of 6 when Digi-Crossing, you could be making a 4 memory play total with this card. Other considerations were cards like Full Moon Meteor Impact, but man, is space tight in this deck. Another factor was mental training, but overall it feels bad that you can't use these with the Tamers. But to carve out the rest of the deck, I'm on 11 Tamers. 2 Mad Ishidas, which can on play reveal the top 3 cards and add 1 Digimon with Gabumon or Garurumon in its name. The kicker here, Kendo Garurumon is not considered a Garurumon Digimon. It's Garmon in its original translation. But because you have so many raw draws, this card can be useful on the additional memory and can even find your Gabumon Bond of Bravery ACE. The remaining Tamers all have inheritable effects and have Koji Minamoto in their name. First, your dual-colored red-yellow memory fixer Takuya and Koji is arguably the best one, because this is what can enable you to digivolve into Kendo Garurumon, and then if you end your turn, you can attack with Kendo Garurumon to go into Lobomon to go into Ancient Garurumon. However, because the end of turn timing has already passed, this does not reset and Ancient Garurumon is not deleted at the end of the turn. Meaning at every subsequent turn, if you're attacking and drawing 1, your opponent adds the top card of security to the hand. They attempt to delete, you gain back value with the Hybrid to hand and playing back the Tamer. And lastly, if they try and attack over you, you can probably Gabumon Bond of Bravery ACE to bounce whatever it's attacking. But the other Koji simply prevent your stack from being blocked, especially in a setting in which Shoto anything is a thing, and another memory fixer that gives jamming. Overall, I'm not going to argue that this deck is the best of the best either. This list hasn't been tested, and is more so a preliminary concept that I want to see how it functions based on the synergy of certain cards. But what were elements you liked, disliked, and where to next? Find out this week, as more Digimon content is released on the channel, and hopefully, another deck profile. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.